Tesla could devote more time to his upcoming lectures, which were going to be held at the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia at the end of February and again the following week, in March, at the annual meeting of the National Electric Light Association in St. Louis. He was met in Philadelphia by Prof. Edwin Houston, formerly the partner of Houston's former student, Elihu Thomson. Tesla began his lecture in Philadelphia with a discussion of the human eye, nature's masterpiece. It is the great gateway through which all knowledge enters the mind. It is often said, the very soul shows itself in the eye. The study of the eye suggested a number of different and distinct lines of inquiry. For instance, it enabled Tesla to envision the precursor to television, with its numerous transfiguring pixels corresponding to the light-sensitive receiving cells of the retina. In another vein, in conjunction with instruments such as microscopes and telescopes, they also opened up new vistas for scientific inquiry. Alluding to the concept of the plurality of worlds, Tesla would say, it was an organ of a higher order. It is conceivable, Tesla continued, that in some other world, in some other beings, the eye is replaced by a different organ, equally or more perfect, but these beings cannot be men, obtaining information from all corners of the universe at the same time. The eye interacted with that elusive realm called the mind. Furthermore, this organ was also a perfect analog of Tesla's Aristotelian worldview, as the eye had to be triggered from an external source in order to function. If we go back to one of Tesla's earlier experiments with the brush phenomena, that is, the creation of a brush or stream of light generated within an insulated vacuum bulb that responded to the faintest electromagnetic reverberations, we see that to Tesla this precursor to the radio tube was actually based on the principles inherent in the construction of the human eye. The brush, we remember, not only reacted to magnetic influences, but also to the approach of Apperson and to the torque of the Earth, just as the eye also reacts to faint impulses from near or far. It is the only organ capable of being affected directly by the vibrations of the ether. The ether was a 19th century theoretical construct of an all-pervasive medium between the planets and stars. In 1881, Michelson and Morley unsuccessfully tried to measure the ether in their famous experiment with light beams and mirrors. The ramifications of their findings did not become evident until after the turn of the century, a full decade after Tesla's lecture, when Einstein used the Michelson-Morley experiment to suggest that, by its nature, the ether cannot be detected, and further, that it was unnecessary for explaining how light could travel through space. Physics professor Edwin Gorra of Providence College, whose mentors included Arnold Sommerfeld and Werner Heisenberg, stated that the ether could not be detected with 19th century techniques and that Einstein replaced the old ether with a new non-Euclidean space-time construct. This new, more abstract ether had such unusual properties as allowing space to curve around gravitation bodies. Completely disagreeing with Einstein, and never abandoning the concept of the all-pervasive either, Tesla said that space cannot be curved because something cannot act upon nothing. Light, according to Tesla, bent around stars and planets because they were attracted by a force field. Gorra agreed that the two concepts of curved space and force field may actually be different viable ways of describing the same thing. Returning to the 1893 lecture, for Tesla, the relationship of electrical phenomena to the structure of the ether appeared to be an important key to understanding how it could be transmitted without wires in an efficient manner. The problem of the transmission of electromagnetic energy through space was discussed in all three of his lectures on high-frequency phenomena. One question he considered was whether the ether was motionless or in motion. When vibrations were transmitted through it, it appeared to act like a still lake, but at other times, the ether acted like a fluid to the motion of bodies through it. Referring to the investigations of Kelvin, Tesla concluded that the ether must be in motion. But regardless of this, there is nothing which would enable us to conclude with certainty that, while a fluid is not capable of transmitting transverse vibrations of a few hundred or thousand per second, it might not be capable of transmitting such vibrations when they range into hundreds of millions per second. Tesla would later claim spectacular results in wireless transmission ever duplicated by any other researcher. He states that his system was not bound to the inverse square laws, and it appears that his success, if indeed it was a success, was based on the premise that above certain frequencies the ether revealed novel and heretofore unknown features. Perhaps threshold values were involved. Tesla continued his discussion on the structure of the ether and its relationship to electromagnetic phenomena by making two observations: one, that energy could be transmitted by independent carriers, and two, that atomic and subatomic particles whirled around each other like little solar systems. These two concepts, which were tied to the mystery of the structure of the ether, predated similar ideas proposed by quantum physicists Ernest Rutherford, Niels Bohr, and Albert Einstein by at least a decade. In Rutherford's case, he is often credited as the first physicist to view the atom as structured somewhat like a solar system. It is evident, however, that Rutherford referred to Tesla's high-frequency lectures in 1895, when he constructed high-frequency AC equipment for conducting long-distance wireless experiments. Tesla stated that he could create electromagnetic oscillations that display transverse and also longitudinal wave characteristics. The first transverse case corresponds to the concept of the ether as a medium for propagating wave-like impulses, and the second longitudinal case corresponds to what today is known as a quantum of energy analogous to the way sound waves travel through air. Tesla maintained, against all opposition, even to this day, that his electromagnetic frequencies traveled in longitudinal, bullet-like impulses, and thus they carried much more energy than can be ascribed to Hertzian transverse waves. In fact, as alluded to before, Hertz wanted to eliminate the idea of mass from the Maxwellian electromagnetic equations. End of Nikola Tesla. Part 2. Thank you for watching.